Now, I invite our children of all ages to join me on the chancel to hear a story about why it's important to do the thing that makes us come alive. Come join me on the chancel. Hello. Hey. So not so long ago, there was a woman, we'll call her Jane. And Jane had a lovely, lovely garden on a plot of land. And in that garden, she grew just the most wonderful kinds of plants. She had sunflowers and roses and watermelons and cantaloupes. She had all sorts of herbs, basil, thyme, rosemary, sage. She was just so happy to spend as much time as she possibly could in that garden. Has anyone been to a garden that's as nice as that has so many beautiful plants and flowers in it? It's nice to spend time in your garden. And Jane loved her garden. And she spent as much time as she possibly could working to make it beautiful and lovely. And one day, a businessman walks by this garden as Jane was working in it, and he said to Jane, "Wow, you really have a nice garden here. I've never seen such beautiful watermelons and cantaloupes, sage and rosemary, sunflowers and roses. How did you get how did you get roses and sunflowers to grow at the same time? That's pretty amazing." She says, I just work here, and I enjoy the work that I do here. He says, you see that open field? If you got yourself some tractors, and if you got yourself some laborers to work the land, you could grow all sorts of wonderful fruits that you can then sell, fruits that have a lot of value to them. And Jane thought about what this businessman said and asked, well, why? Why would I get a tractor and get laborers? And the man says, so that you can hire people, so that you can increase your productivity, so that you can sit in an office and manage your farms and your gardens. And Jane says, well, why would I want to do that? Well, so that you could be rich, and then you'd have all of the money to do all of the things that you enjoy doing. And Jane says, I enjoy working in this garden. And the businessman, confused, like, what's wrong with Jane, continues down the road. Now, Jane was happy working in her garden, where she grew sunflowers and roses and cantaloupe and watermelon and sage and rosemary. And that was a place that made her come alive. And that was the work that made her come alive. Jane felt wonderful when she was in those places. So the offer that the businessman made to have tractors and to have laborers and to sit in an office and to manage the fruits and vegetables and to be profitable, that didn't matter to her. That kind of work didn't make her come alive. So it's important that we all make a good choice about how we spend our time and what we spend our time on. So let me ask you, what are some things that you really enjoy doing, things that make you come alive? Does anyone play sports? Okay. What sport do you play? Ice hockey. Do you feel alive when you play ice hockey? Are you excited to go to ice hockey?
Sometimes once we're playing with nice little kids, it's really fun.
There you go. Oh, so you're a sneaky ice hockey player. Awesome. What about, does anyone draw? Does anyone sing? Does anyone write? Yeah? Yes? Okay, good. So do those things. Do the things that make you come alive, and then you'll be happy. So I want you to remember that as we sing you off to your Sunday school class.